Hello and welcome back. I mentioned in the recent update video that I won my first post-war Lionel turbine, a 2020 as you can see. And I've had it about a week now, working up the energy to do this video. I say that because, wouldn't you know, it showed up broke. Looks like the trailing truck was already broken, and in shipping it finally gave out. You can see from the pictures that the bar here was bent, but honestly I didn't think anything of that because most of the post-war steamers I buy, for whatever reason, the transfer bars broke. So, and you can see from the pictures it's missing the ladder, but that's on me because I actually just kind of forgot that they had one, so that didn't even register. And I kind of broke the spirit of this kind of video. I know the spirit of this kind of video is to like fix them how you found them, but the transfer bar was held on with an old wood screw and a nut, so I took it off to make sure the threads weren't too damaged, and they're obviously damaged, but they are there and they should do what they need to do. I'll add a little Loctite. I'm making this video now because I'd like to order the rear truck and a ladder, and if I need to order anything else, I'd like to know now. So we'll go ahead and start trying to service this thing. I've never had one of these. I've never had one apart. I've only seen pictures of them apart, so that right now. I think I got most of the tools I need to take this thing apart. Pretty dirty. Here in a moment we'll take it in the basement and see how it runs. It should run. The seller had a video of it running upside down at Mach 5 with just the wires touching the pickups. So how well it runs, I couldn't tell you. Let's go downstairs real quick, throw this thing on the layout, see how it runs, and go from there. So let's get this thing off the layout. I should apologize for my sinuses, they're acting up right now. But yeah, it looks like she's on the track. Alright. Well, very dirty. Well, I've got to be honest with you. It actually runs way better than I thought it was going to. I can smell the chromosomes in the air. It smells good. So let's get this thing back upstairs. So except for being really dirty, that actually ran really good, in my opinion, considering the state it showed up in. I have a plan for these. I think I've had really good luck working them with a pair of pliers to kind of bring them back together and then flying them back out. So that should work, I would assume. I don't personally have much history with the turbine. I like to include some stories here and there. If you're a long-time viewer, usually complaining about my dad, but I don't, because I never had one, and I never As a kid, I've never actually liked a turbine. They just were the loud, growly thing. They seem so out of proportion. I never liked the smokestack design. But I can remember in the 90s, my dad getting his first 2020, his first turbine, and he was super excited and because he really wanted one. And I can remember him spouting off some train show lore about how you had to get these when they were running, because once they were wore out, they were practically unfixable and only good for parts. I don't know why these would be any more or less repairable than anything else, but that was his thinking, and probably why I never really bought one. Like I said, I didn't care for them to begin with. Now that I'm a balding middle-aged man, I find the appeal more in these. The more tour-like post-war Lionel trains. On a side note, I have my MTH turbine that I got off of Facebook Marketplace, but I guess this would be my first real turbine. That's kind of a jab at my dad, because when I started my first collection, one of the first trains I bought was the Polar Express Berkshire, and he told me it wasn't a real Berkshire because it wasn't a post-war Lionel Berkshire. And then when I got my first MTH semi-scale Hudson, he told me it wasn't a real Hudson because it wasn't a post-war Lionel Hudson. So I guess there's my complaining for the video. But other than that, like I said, I don't really have any personal history. He loved these things, so he always had them on his layout, but I never cared for them. So let's dig into this thing. I know this pops off the light. Put that somewhere where I can lose it. And let me grab a screwdriver. And I can see like 3 screws off the rip. So we'll go ahead and remove the front truck. Guess I'm not gonna get my fat fingers in there to get that, am I? I don't actually know how to remove that. Oh, I guess it can live there for now. Let's see. Screw right there. Guess those are different. That's easy to good to know. I think I need a screwdriver with a finer tip. I only see those 3, so yeah, that's it. It doesn't look like it has the gasket to go around the smoke unit if you ever had one. I don't know if these ones ever had them. This looks different from a lot of the ones I've seen pictures of. A lot of the ones I've seen pictures of, this is a big bulbous thing that goes all the way down. Whoa, there it goes. Pretty dirty. Put that upside down. Alright. So I'm guessing what most of what I'm going to be concerned with is, of course, going to be in the motor. And I'm hoping I can, there's enough slack there, I can just that step's gonna cut me. If this is like a Berkshire, then this should just pop out. To unveil what, 60-70-year-old grease. So we'll have to clean that up. And look at all that packed up in there. That's something. That's kind of how these are. So I should go and screw this. And this. Get the motor out. Come on. So I'm unfamiliar, obviously, with turbines, but this is pretty similar to the Berkshire, my 736. A lot of the pictures, the ones I've seen, had a reduction, what they call that, a reduction gear. I think it's probably why they're noisy. So and this screw's loose. Alright. I'm on. I'm on. Oh, I'm gonna have to unsolder that wire real quick. I will be right back because I do not have a soldering gun right here. So that actually wasn't that horrible. A lot of the ones I've desoldered so far, they like wrap that wire around and solder it, but that one was just poked through a hole. I put a screw back in the motor to hold it while I was running around so it didn't flop out and damage anything. So this should now come out. Get to see what we got here. Couple brushes. Look, kind of better than I thought they would. Got some oil and grease down there. It must not have as much runtime on it as the rollers kind of portray. So that is pretty nasty. See the don't know what those gaps are called, but that one's packed, and that stuff should be conductive, so that's not going to be awesome. So this now needs cleaned. I'm thinking about taking that apart just to see how it works. I've never been inside one. Kind of curious. But get this apart. There's a clip. Let me figure out where I put my tool. And all right, so we got clip, spacer. Does the spacer come off? Yeah. And that's probably why I was told once these wear out, they don't go back together, because the bearing is just that could be how these are. I'm going to stop this for a second and make sure I do not lose all these things. I'm pretty sure I got all of them. They didn't exactly roll away. They're covered in grease. So lesson learned. Looks like there's the other side of the... Guess that would be a bearing, wouldn't it? Well, let's go ahead and remove the armature. So we can clean that. There's more there, and there seem to be missing some, but I didn't. There's some. Right, they're probably inside, so we'll put those separate. Extra certain. So I think I'm committed to putting this thing back together this morning. And luckily, since these things are covered in grease, they're not exactly rolling away. All right. Looks like, yep, another spacer or bearing end. Put that over there with those ones. And now I'm nervous I'm going to bump this thing. I need to find now I'm nervous I'm going to lose this stuff. But I'd like to get the other half of this out so I can clean it. Well, let's move on to this thing. I'm going to grab a paper towel and start wiping it off. That's cleaned up pretty good. This is a skewer stick, by the way. I think I mentioned this before, but I don't remember. But I like these for getting in there and digging out all the nastiness. And there is a lot of it. This is a fiberglass brush. You can get these off of Amazon. They seem to be pretty common in the model train industry now. So that cleaned up really nice. I'll go ahead and get all the goopity gop out of the gear. Looks good enough for who it's for. Grab some alcohol and cotton swab. Up that motor down. A bit more. Probably good enough for who it's for. I'm going to attempt to clean this up. And do it over here in case any more of those little bearings fall out. There it goes. I think that's a little oiling point right there. Yeah, it's packed. Guess I should expect that. Some remnants of some oil. Well, I don't see any more of the little bearings falling out, so I think I got them all. All right. Alright, I really want to get this thing back together. I'm paranoid, I'm going to lose that stuff. And if there's anything like an old car bearing, just a little bit of grease to help hold the bearings in. So I can't get the tube in there. Okay. Now I hold my breath. And where is my... I have got to be honest with you. I do not think I have all these. I'm pretty sure I didn't lose any. Did I just not have them all? I'm going to take from the front and hope that it's the same size. That's easier to replace if I can get them. Yeah, I definitely do not have all these. One more. There. So I am going to have to go grab a magnet, I guess, and go fishing. That is clearly not enough. So unless these things just didn't have that many, which I kind of doubt, because usually how bearings burn up, I made a grave mistake taking this thing apart without looking. So I'm going to go grab a magnet and go fishing, and I will get back to you in a second. So I have been all over this thing, and this table with the magnet and underneath, and I cannot find them. I didn't see them fall a wet drop. I mean, they didn't roll because they're covered in grease. It's possible that just didn't have that many, but that kind of goes against everything I know about bearings, because as far as I know, they like burn up if they're not packed in tight with grease. You can order them online. I'm going to order some tonight when I put my order in. They're like 671-21 or something like that. So I'm going to order a pack of 10. I found 4, or I got 4 left over. I'm going to go ahead and assemble this thing. I put that thing in there, didn't I? Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and continue putting this thing together and shove the 4 I have in here, just so I can have everything, together. And then when the parts show up, I'm going to go ahead and put the other ones in. I'm positive. I've looked all over the motor, thinking maybe they got stuck to the magnet. I've been all over the ground. I mean, it's possible it just did not have that many. But that kind of just doesn't make any sense to me. But I'm going to, like I said, just go ahead and put this thing back together. And I will, just have to take it apart when they show back up. All the bearings, this thing doesn't want to sit flush. You're just gonna fall apart, aren't you? Alright. That's as good as that's gonna get. Spins pretty good. Alright, put you somewhere safe. Now we get to deal with all that good stuff. Yeah, it really upsets me. I'm going to have to look more into that. It really seems like there should be more little ball bearings. You're messing with my mind, Lionel. Yeah, it really didn't look like much grease made it to the motor, did it? Does it? I'm guessing there's a little drive thing. Oh. Well, here in a second I'm going to scrub that, but I'm now really curious how this smoke unit works. It seems like it's attached to wheels. I need a different screwdriver. Tell me your secrets. Nothing else, I can throw some oil on the thing itself. So that is just a cam system? It'd have to be. So that's riveted on. So there ain't no taking this thing apart. Yeah. Alright, cool. Now I know. I'm going to just dab a little grease in there. Why not? Grab a clean Q-tip. All right. Well, you can be back together because there's nothing I can do more I can do in there. Oh, it fell out. Alright, neato. So I am going to scrub this and my brain shut down for a second. Before I do that, let's go ahead and grab a Q-tip since we're in here. Clean these out. This thing is just not that dirty. I mean, except for the obvious, like dust bunnies and whatnot. Alright, I am going to continue to scrub this. I will be back in a second. So, I've been scrubbing for not that long a time, honestly. I took the tip of the shish kebab stick, the skewer, and cleaned up the gears and my little brush and got as much of that gump out as I could. And I flipped it over, and most of this right here came from behind the wheels. I then took the track rubber and went over the surface of each wheel. And wire brushed it a little bit, and then went over with alcohol, Q-tip. Same with the rollers. It's probably about as clean as it's going to get. So now I'm going to pick this stuff up, and I'm going to do some research to see, well, actually what we can do is clean up the brushes. Where did I put my thing at? Just pop off, doesn't it? Yeah, I better not be mean to it. You can feel this is actually kind of, the brushes are deformed. Probably can't tell them from this thing, but they're obviously they're mushroomed out a little bit. So maybe this thing's run hot. But I'm going to brush these off real quick and then get them with some rubbing alcohol. Oops, that's a little too much. This one's pretty scarred up. I wonder what that's from. That's about as much effort as I want to put into it right now. So I should be able to take these. And carefully come on. There it goes. No, 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 no. That one kind of wanted to take its own path there for a second. Nice. And those are the small screws. Now, at this point, I could solder this back together, but I'm not going to yet until I get this dealt with. But I am going to plop this back in. Come on. There. Until I do with that. And then I'll put some grease on the worm gear and put the cap back on. But for now, I am just putting it back together so I don't lose anything. And I'm going to go do the research on the bearings. Oops. I don't like how you're fighting me. There. Kind of bound up for a second. Put this back on so I don't lose it. So I think, there. All right. I am going to get everything set aside and continue this video when I get all the stuff together. So quick update, I just got done rewatching the footage and looking at pictures that others have done, and it doesn't look like I lost any. This thing simply didn't have that many ball bearings in the bearings. So either somebody skimped out at the factory, or somebody's had this thing apart before. But it certainly looks like, from the pictures I've seen online, these things should be packed all the way around, which is kind of how I assumed it would be. It's kind of how every bearing I've ever seen that configuration has been. So I'm going to go ahead and order some tonight when I place my parts order, and get this thing back together the way it probably should have been. And I'm also going to order some more of the good wiring solder, because that bridge has come undone too. So since I'm going to be soldering that wire back on and that one, I'm going to get some actual good solder. So I will continue this video when the parts show up. So it's a couple days later now. I've got the rear steps and the rear truck. I did that last bit of filming on a Thursday, and it's Monday now, so the seller got this stuff out to me really quick. I have not got the ball bearings yet, which is part number 671M-21, and they're labeled as a thrust bearing. I ordered 20 of them. The seller was selling them in batches of 10. I figured I'd use some extra just in case. I've taken pliers and side snips off camera, and I've worked around these rivets just enough to where this pops down over top of it, and there's plenty of material there left to restake it, re-rivet it, and I'm going to reattach the truck and front and rear truck. I also realized I was so worried about the bearing situation that when I put this thing back together, I forgot to oil the shaft. So I'm going to try to remind myself when I can get ready to put this thing back together, because I'm not taking it all the way back apart again, to probably put way too much oil down the shaft and work it in back and forth until it hopefully gets oil where it needs to be. I would also like to add a little bit of this disclaimer. Is I don't know the history of this thing. I don't know if it was made on a Friday and Phyllis on Motorline just wasn't having it that day and skimped out, or was this the Christmas rush, or they're all like this. Maybe they're all like this, and I mean, it's a toy and nobody figured it'd be around in 70 years, so they just threw it just enough ball bearings in there to like offset the load. But like I said, everything I know about that type of bearing, there should be balls all the way around it to help distribute the load. That way it wears evenly. This just seems like it'd fail, which is probably why they went to the other styles later with the little washer with the 5 individual bearings pressed into it, just to keep it wearing out, keep the load spread out evenly. Because there's no inner race or anything in this thing to keep the bearings from moving around in there, so it just seems like a bad design. Or it's completely possible they designed it like this on purpose, and I'm about to ruin a perfectly good motor by throwing more ball bearings in than it should have. So we'll find out. I'm going to remove this motor again, because I haven't soldered the thing yet, and go out in the garage with a punch and beat this thing like it stole something to restake the rear steps, and I'll get back to this video in a second. Boom. That didn't take long at all. I had a little bit of adhesive to help hold the thing, the steps, but that was unneeded, and it's, see, I'm gonna have to clean it up because it's making a little bit of a mess. I didn't use a 3/8 socket to back this bucking bar because I imagine this is made out of pot metal and probably split or something. And then took my little center punch here and line it up and just give it a couple whacks, and it stayed there nice and solid. I did have to take the pry bar or my screwdriver here and pry on this a little bit because there wasn't enough room for the drawbar, and Loctite on the nut, or the screw I mean. And this thing, by all metrics, should be ready to go. I still have, of course, to wait for the bearings. I was looking at this, and I don't know if you can tell, but all the bearings end up working their way down into one little corner. So that's probably a good thing I ordered more. I mean, I know there's only 4 on that edge or at end right now, but that makes me uneasy. So I'm going to reattach the motor so I don't lose bits. Put this back together, and I will finish this video once the bearings show up. So it is now the very next day, and I now have a baggie of what looks like birdshot. I'm going to, I've already taken the motor out, obviously. Get rid of this ready. Oh, come on. Stuck on the hand because of the grease. Alright. Sorry. Whoops. Alright. Let's get a look here. I can barely see. Yeah. Maybe there's not as much room for them to move around there as I thought. But they definitely moved around. Let's see here. I should really get something to put these in. Well, come on. This is going about as well as I can expect it, I guess. Put the dab of grease on my screwdriver to help grab them. Which is apparently magnetized. Awesome. Oh, come on. No. I already forgot they were behind the stupid scribe. See how many more we can fit in here. Looks like I can put a few more. Come on. Out you come. There's 3. We'll start with there. There was 3. Well, I've got 2, so we'll go from there. Oh, all right, the screwdriver grabbed the one. I think we are probably over packed by like 1. Yeah, it's a mess. But that will keep things. No, it's just the grease is holding everything in place. Sorry, I can't see. Yeah, it's fine. Grease is just pushing it out. All right, cool. I'm going to apply some extra grease to try to help hold these in place. And reassemble this thing. Come on. There. I like it. Now I got this out. Take some oil. Oh, that's way too much. Much too much. Well, it ain't spilling out. All right. So I'm now going to take this grease and just put a bunch on the gear here. It had a lot of grease in here, but there wasn't a whole lot actually touching the gear. That's probably too much. It's fine. Get all this back together. I need to start doing this after I get some sleep. Cool. All right. Sorry, I didn't realize I was blocking the camera. All right, just cover back on. Is that the right way? I hope. Oh man. Done. I'm glad to get this over with so I can go back to bed. Put a little bit of oil. Awesome. So what I'm going to do now is I've got new solder. I'm going to go resolder this wire and fix the headlight. And I'm going to put the shell back on, and I will meet you in the basement. Alright, so after much frustration trying to get that to weld, or to solder I mean, it should be ready for its test. One of the wires on the motor didn't want to cooperate. And that looks like it's on its track. The unit's engaged. Passenger car's out of the way. While it lives, let me put some smoke fluid in it real quick and see if it'll pull a load. Alright, it's ready to go. It feels like it might be a little tight. Like maybe that's why one of the motor screws was loose, and maybe it's a little the mesh is a little tight. It does not like that at all. Let her run for a minute, maybe she'll loosen up. So, turns out I'm just an idiot, kind of. Just kidding, actually. As far as the motor issue is concerned, I just overpacked the front bearing. It was just putting too much tension on it. So I removed one bearing. You remember that one that was pushing out when I was loading it up and just thinking it was grease? Well, it was overpacked. And it was working fine. And still the motor part is, but the E unit now is sticking. So I am now frustrated and should have been in bed about an hour ago. But so I will probably call it a day for now, and then see if I can get pull the E unit out and try to clean it up a little bit. It's hot and muggy and I'm miserable and I'm starting to get irritated. So I think I'm going to call it here for today. So we're going to be another day late on the final test run. Well, I couldn't leave it well enough alone. I decided to pull it apart, and as you can see, it's covered in the same grease that everything else is covered in. Just sticking. So I will do my best to clean this up real quick, maybe with some rubbing alcohol, and see how it does. I think that did it. All right, I'm putting this thing back together, hopefully for the last time, and we're going to give it its final run, like all back together. And I'm done. I'm going to bed. I'm finished with this thing. Give me a second. All right, I've got this thing all back together, hopefully for the very last time. I did notice the smoke unit isn't working, but you know what? Maybe that'll come around later. I've serviced the motor, cleaned the E unit, replaced ball bearings, the rear ladders, the rear truck. I've got way more money in this thing now than it's probably worth. And then she's been wanting to fight this whole time. Some of it on me, some of it just grease and dirt neglect. Well, she made me work for it, but in the end, was it worth it? Yeah, probably. So I think that's it for this video. I am beat, I am done, I am going to bed. I'll talk to you guys next time.